Happy Sabbath, church. My topic today is I am sorry. Could you stand, please, for the Bible reading? Thank you. This is taken from Genesis 32, verses 3 to 11. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau, the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He instructed them, "This is what you are to say to my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says, I've been staying with Laban and have remained there till now. I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, male and female servants. Now I'm sending the message to my lord that I may find favor in your eyes." When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau, and now he's coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." In great fear and distress, Jacob divided the people who were with him into two groups, and the flocks and the herds and camels as well. He thought, if Esau comes and attacks one group, the group that is left may escape. Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers and their children. But you have said, I will surely make you prosper and make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted. Amen. You may sit. Thank you. My message is entitled, I'm sorry. It captures the theme of restitution and reparation. You know, the quality of humility is a characteristic we all should have. I try to have it sometimes, I try very hard. But in my life and profession, I demonstrate this daily. There used to be a characteristic years ago in the 70s that read, if you can read this, thank a teacher. I'm going to add to that. If you have been saved by the blood of Christ, thank Jesus and thank a preacher. I want to thank the pastor for giving me the opportunity to speak, and this is his pulpit and the elders. First, I'm sorry indicates humility. What is humility? It is the absence of pride and arrogance, the state of being humble. I could modify my title to say, I'm sorry, and add, can it be also too late to say this? Go back to the lesson. Jacob is hurt in the hip and limp. The next morning, Israel, limping because of his hip, injured during the night, finally meets his brother. Before greeting him, Israel bows 7 times. Esau embraces him, and they both weep. What happens next is even more astonishing. Esau initially refuses his brother's peace offering, saying that he already has enough. Israel insists, replying, "No, please, if I find favor with you, then accept my present from my hand. For truly, to see your face is like seeing the face of God." Genesis 33:10. Israel now sees the face of God in the face of the very brother who was sworn to kill him. You see the power of an apology. The sacred story shows how difficult this word reconciliation is. It involves risk, comes with sacrifice, injury, pain, but it takes faith and trust in God. However, when we do this, we are finally able to see the face of God in the face of our enemy and reconcile with our brothers and sisters. You know, the act of apologizing starts with a single step. Every act you do, every journey starts with a single step. In this case, the step is right here. Even the unkind things you do to others, you say to them. In other words, hurt people. Sometimes a cut leaves a scar for life. But you see, when you hurt people worse, that scar is here. It is indelible. it can cause trauma and psychological pain. So words cut. I have to tell you, I have to go back in the past. You know, I entered the classroom to teach English and literature a long time ago. And every year, I always give my students a story of inspiration to make them understand. I'm going to go back in the time, at the time when they were classroom desks that had ink wells. I remember Quick ink and Esterbrook ink. And there were no pens like these. They were jig sticks. And you put the pens inside the ink and you write. It is called calligraphy. Go to the classroom now. This is the end of the term, and everyone is involved in the cleanup campaign. As you say in my country, everything must be fire bright. Well, teachers and students are involved in this cleanup. One student wears the lid of the desk and sees something. It was a heart. You know how boys and girls make this heart? This person loves this person. But underneath this heart were words, vulgar words. Miss, look what I see. You know how students like to tell each other. The teacher comes. She's offended, angry. Who could have written this? You notice the teacher's surname and the child's surname were the same surnames. Who was sitting here? Come here. You wrote this? Miss, no, I would never write these things. I don't call those words. But this is your desk. You know, in my day, when your parents caught you, my father would tell me, Randolph, come here. You use those words? Yes, Papa. Count the number of teeth in your head. The next time you come to me, count them again. He didn't mean anything. Those were scare tactics. Sometimes the words of a parent were just enough. And in those days, teachers, policemen stood 10 feet tall. Not today. Get to the story. The boy was punished severely. The expression, wait till your father gets home, meant a lot. You can imagine what happened. The poor boy is ostracized, humiliated. But something happened. At the beginning of the next term, this teacher goes to the mark, looks carefully, figured out, but she sees a date. That poor child wasn't alive then. And she starts thinking, and she looked closely. She thought she saw her own calligraphic style. It was her who wrote it with a vulgarity, and that child was condemned. What did she do? She goes to the principal. Principal says, wait, at that time, I was your teacher. You said that about me? Yes, I'm sorry. No, it has to go further. They went to the child's house. The poor child now, so afraid. And means for them, Miss, it wasn't me. We know. Oh, we are sorry. Sometimes, church, sorry is the sweetest word. But let me continue. Because I really want to take some time to express these sentiments to God's person. The apologizing is also like a cleansing agent. The teacher was angry. Matthew 7:5 says, remove the beam out of your eye that you will see the speck in your brother's eyes. In other words, do not be so judgmental with others. She was quick to judge. No. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit better than he that taketh the city. Proverbs 16:32. James says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. We speak of burial grounds. We speak of the expression skeletons in the closet. Sometimes you do things and you hide them. In this case, the skeleton was under the lid of a desk. It was hidden, but it was soon revealed. Moving on, you see, when we hide things in our mind, this thing called the mind, this CPU, it never erases anything. It is always there. There are many themes from today's word. We can say what is done in the dark, you know the rest of it. Today, I'm going to ask you to examine yourselves. I am asking myself too. Randolph, you hear me talking to you? Good, I hear. A few Sabbath lessons ago, Hebrews, we looked at the word hubris and arrogance and pride. Sometimes you're wrong. You cannot be wrong and strong. Sometimes you are dead right. That means you're on the right path. But if you see a car coming at you, this car has broken the street light. He's coming towards you. You're right. Are you going to continue? You go on, you'll be right and dead. That is called dead right. Be careful now. Arrogance is important. Get rid of it. I cannot help but talking about Joseph and his brothers. You know, that story anguished me as a child. Well, I had many, but I was the last of the brothers anyway. But that story angered me. You can imagine Joseph, one, in a pit, two, sold in slavery, three, accused, put in prison. Why? Because of Potiphar's wife. How did he feel? I don't know if I could be like Joseph and feel that way. When he saw his brothers, how did he feel? You can imagine the anguish, the anger. Sometimes anger knows no bounds. Look at Joseph in humility. When he saw his brothers, he didn't condemn, he didn't accuse them. He contrived a ploy to get everybody there. He did not even wait to hear, I'm sorry, Joseph. He forgave before. Now, let me go further. When God asked, Adam, where are you? God knew where Adam was. It was not a location. It was a state of the mind. When he asked him, where's your brother? Why? He said, the voice of innocent blood is crying to me. He knew that. Think of a brother killing a brother. It happens almost every day. Sometimes your dark deeds are discovered by man, yes, but also God, as Daniel says in chapter 2, verse 22, God sees all deep hidden things you reveal. Sometimes the skeletons of the wrongs in our closet, in the mind that is, we should dig up and expiate. The conscience and the deep sleep, in the conscience we show them out. This brain can correct and cover and store anything. But God's spiritual eyes are on everyone. Today, you have psychologists, forensic science. You have the detective tests that can reveal truth. You have truth serums. But look, God's spiritual eyes cover everyone, everywhere, every time, at the same time, and all the time. So we can't hide from ourselves. Sometimes it may be too late to say, to say you're sorry. Think of Judas. Sometimes we cannot unring the bell of wrong. When we turn the corner, we can't see what's happening here. And sometimes, I know there were funerals in my country where people have gone home for holidays and they hear this person had died. They remember something they did wrong. When they go to the graveyard, they can't say, I am sorry. Give people the flowers now they're alive. Apologize to them now. I think of Judas. You mean the dark thoughts. When things go wrong, it starts right here, the first step, the dark thoughts. And look at Jesus, giving Judas all the time to say, I'm sorry. Then Jesus replied, have I not chosen you, the 12? Yet one of you is a devil. He meant Judas. It was he who would hand Jesus over if the president Jesus kept hinting to Judas all along. Say, I'm sorry. Have you ever done something wrong? I'm talking to myself too. Yes. Were you ever sorry? Yes, of course. Was there a time when you didn't want to say sorry? Yeah, I'm talking to myself. Yes, of course. When you said it, how did you feel? Better, of course. We can hide the truth from everyone, even from humanity. You can even fool forensic science. You cannot fool yourself or fool God. Go back to Judas now. There's something called the Judas kiss. People smile in your face. Backstabbers. They smile in your face, but behind your back, they want to take your place. A smile is a frown turned upside down. That's a group called the OJs from the 70s. And sometimes the refusal to apologize can put a stranglehold on us. Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. Me? What are you talking about? When it happened, he went outside and wept bitterly. But wasn't he the rock on which the church will be built? God forgave him. Still. We have to clean up the world inside our mind first before we do anything else. It is the man in the mirror that we must clean. Talk to him. Listen, there is nothing wrong with talking to yourself. I do it. What is wrong if your self talks back to you? Be careful though. So, and you went out and wept bitterly. To be human means messing up in one way or another. I have messed up, man, big time. Listen, I don't know how yet to be here. It is the power of God. And these failures impact our relationship with God and others. That's why apologizing and forgiveness is an essential part of the Christian faith. Jesus did not come to create perfect people. He came to restore broken relationships. Apology does that. God described his mission as a quest to restore this. For God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. That's John 3:17. You know, I belong to the opposite end of the digital divide. I like my paper and my pen. These things called pens don't exist anymore. Students don't use them anymore. They use their phones and their computers. I like my pen and paper. I'm sorry. Good. Okay, let's go back now to the Bible, though. And think of the problem of the lost son, the prodigal son, the rebellious child. You know, he didn't even have to say, I am sorry, when his father saw him. The father is a metaphor for the Almighty God. When you read prodigal children, go back to God. The prodigal son in the story, though, wasn't the son they were told them. The prodigal son was the brother who said, look, I've been here with you, Dad, all these years. You never killed me a fattened calf. He was a prodigal son. Because he was arrogant. Let me tell you a story about arrogance and humility. If I ask you, what is stronger, an oak tree or a blade of grass? You will say the oak tree. But listen, when the winds of the hurricanes come, The oak tree is torn leaf from leaf, branch from branch, cut in half. The grass, bends down its head. Humility, the grass bends down and the hurricane winds pass over. Be careful how you judge things. I really feel impassioned about this. I call it this is a sermon. And because of this, I want to say a few things to you. There is nothing wrong than saying, Almighty God, I have done this sin. Name it. I am truly sorry. I'm asking you for forgiveness. But God, I want to go further. I want to show you proof of my being sorry. Let me go to society now. In 2019, a policeman had shot a Haitian guy in error, and she was convicted. I want to read to you the victim impact statement. The 18-year-old brother who was in court said, I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? He, the brother, is talking to the judge. Let me hug him. She just killed my brother. And he says, look, I'm not going to condemn you. I just want you, if you're truly sorry, to give your life to Christ. Well, I don't think people use handkerchiefs anymore, but tissue came out. Eyes were red. People looked away and cried. That was the hush over the courtroom to see a brother. Forgive. You see, apology goes beyond. There are two things. One, the coin has two sides. I'm sorry, I accept my apologies. So it works two ways. You, who were wronged, has the same commitment to accept the apology of those who wronged you. And the two shared a tag in the courtroom several few years ago. And what was heard alone was the songs of sobbing. Sometimes in life you do things that really hurt people. But sometimes you need to go back and say, I am sorry. The hug of forgiveness in 2019 shocked the world. I don't know if I can forgive somebody. As a Christian, I would. But if I wasn't a Christian, how you want me to forgive somebody who shot my brother? I don't. That'd be so hard for me. You see, forgiveness, depending on individual tolerance and personality, comes easier to some than others. However, it is difficult to find a more selfless, modern-day message of forgiveness than that of Nelson Mandela. The greatest book I've read is The Long Walk to Freedom. 27 years, Nelson Mandela on Robben Island was forced to cut granite rock, overload it in a wheelbarrow, and take to one point and backwards and forwards. He was not even sure if the water they gave him didn't contain bodily fluids, if you know what I'm talking about. For 27 years. Humility is a great leveler. Here are some statements by Nelson Mandela. We must strive to be moved by the generosity of spirit that will enable us to outgrow hatred and the past conflicts. 2, you will achieve more in this world through acts of mercy than you will through acts of retribution. Let me explain this some more. The world has an open palm and a clenched fist. The open palm is a sign of humility and forgiveness. The clenched fist is anger. 3, resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. I will repeat that. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Think of that. 4, forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That's why to say I'm sorry and forgive are such powerful weapons. Why did you forgive the guards on Robben Island, Nelson? It was president then. Humility made him rise from the ground to become president. This is his answer. He said, I forgive my girls on Robben Island. If I had not, I would still be in prison. If you don't accept apology, you put yourself in prison. When I think of a man called Mahatma Gandhi, a Hindu, whose fight for liberation from Britain, he had a movement called Ahisma, that is, a policy of nonviolence, imitated by Martin Luther King. He also fought for the pride of place of the Hindu race against the Muslims. It was his humility that was so powerful. And of course, I'm going to mention an Anglican clergy, John Newton. In 1725, he was a slaver on a slave ship for the Royal Navy. There was a hurricane near Ireland. He had to scull the ship, push the slaves off because the ship was sinking. When he finished, and he got back to Ireland, he said, this can't be. In an act of apology, he gave his life to Christ and penned the song Amazing Grace. Research that. A great poet once said, a little learning is a dangerous thing, but not all the time. He penned the song. He said, this song was a testimony of an apology for what he did. You see, the message of forgiveness and apology can be delivered, this is what he said, from desperation through mercy, the cost awaits. And I've read a lot, believe me, you can see from my hair. And I have never found anything in life, in literature, that says, I am sorry, as profound as David in Psalm 51. I leave this with you. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love, according to your great compassion. Blot out my transgressions, wash away all my iniquity, and cleanse you from sin. That is an apology. Sometimes we find ourselves in stubborn situations. We do things wrong. We find it difficult. Apology, to say this, to apologize is like a stranglehold. It is like a balloon, need to be let loose. Open the balloon and say, I'm sorry. And you who gets the apology, please accept the apology. As you listen to the words of the song, there's a fountain filled with God. Remember that God is always there. Even before you sin, He knows. And He's ready with open arms. The lifeboat is there.